Hey folks, just a quick word before we dive in. If you want to stay ahead of the storm and never miss a beat, be sure to follow SkyAlert USA. That way you won't miss this video or any of our future coverage. Alright, let's get started. Welcome back to SkyAlert USA, your #1 source for severe weather coverage across North America. I'm going to need your full attention today because what is happening right now across the United States and Canada is nothing short of extraordinary. We are tracking multiple, simultaneous catastrophic weather events, a deadly tornado outbreak that has now claimed lives across several states, a crippling ice storm that has knocked out power to tens of thousands in Canada, a polar vortex collapse reshaping our weather pattern, and a brand new severe weather threat building for the next 3 days. This is a massive, multi-hazard situation, and we are covering every single angle of it right here, right now. Let's start with what is arguably the most violent weather story of the week. A sprawling, deadly tornado outbreak that has torn across the heartland of America. According to compiled alert data from March 10th through 11th, a staggering 356 severe weather alerts have been issued across multiple states. Of those, 304 were severe thunderstorm warnings and 52 were tornado warnings, highlighting the intensity and breadth of this multi-state event. Clusters of tornado warnings were embedded within larger zones of severe thunderstorm warnings, particularly across parts of Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. The geographic scale of this outbreak underscores just how organized and expansive this storm system has become. This was not a localized storm. This was a large-scale, multi-state atmospheric assault on one of the most densely populated corridors of the United States. Life-threatening storms erupted across the Midwest and Southern Plains, hurling grapefruit-sized hail, drenching downpours that triggered dangerous flooding, and spawning powerful tornadoes, leaving a trail of widespread destruction. Confirmed tornadoes were reported in Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. In Kankakee County, Illinois, the scene was devastating. Homes across the county lost their roofs as debris from the catastrophic storm littered streets and yards everywhere. In Lake Village, Indiana, a tornado struck a Family Dollar store where 2 employees were trapped. The National Weather Service had issued an urgent warning about a large tornado moving through the area, calling it a life-threatening situation. Fortunately, both workers were later rescued uninjured, but the structure was completely destroyed. The human cost of this outbreak has been devastating. This volatile stretch was highlighted by a deadly tornado outbreak that claimed 8 lives in Michigan and Oklahoma, including the earliest EF3 tornado ever recorded in Michigan's history. Let that sink in. The earliest EF3 ever recorded in the state of Michigan. That is a historic benchmark no one wanted to reach. In Oklahoma, the losses were heartbreaking. A mother and daughter were killed when their vehicle was struck by a tornado at the start of the 2-day outbreak in Major County. The tornado that struck Beggs, Oklahoma, has been officially classified by the NWS as a violent EF3, with maximum winds up to 140 miles per hour. The storm touched down on Friday evening, killing 2 people and injuring 2 others, destroying at least 4 homes and damaging Beggs Middle School. In all, 26 tornadoes were confirmed from this outbreak, along with 8 fatalities and 29 injuries. A strong low-end EF2 tornado in Bloomington, Indiana prompted a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning for the city, with widespread damage being reported. One mobile home was rolled over by the tornado, trapping a woman inside. Communities in Michigan and Oklahoma are still reeling from last week's deadly tornado outbreak. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has declared a state of emergency for Branch, Cass and St. Joseph counties as recovery efforts continue. Here is what should concern you most if you live anywhere from Texas to the Ohio Valley. A brand new storm system is developing, and it arrives just as survivors are still clearing rubble from the last event. A new, potent storm system is developing over the central United States, bringing a multi-day threat of tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail to the Plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley. Scattered severe storms are possible across Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia through tonight. The threat ramps up significantly on Tuesday and Wednesday, with an expansive risk zone stretching from Texas to the southern Great Lakes. Flash flood risk is also present. In addition to the wind and tornado threat, heavy rain may lead to flash flooding from Missouri to Indiana as the system moves through. For southeast Oklahoma, eastern Texas and southern Arkansas, the biggest threat for tornadoes will be on Wednesday. The atmosphere is being primed by an unstable air mass pulling warm, moist Gulf air northward, colliding with a strong cold front diving down from Canada. This is a textbook severe weather setup, and given what we just lived through, it demands your full attention. The central and southern plains are not at rest either. Thunderstorms and rain showers are expected, with the chance for some storms to become severe. From central Oklahoma and Texas through the panhandle of Florida, conditions will be stormy with heavy bouts of rain and further severe weather possibilities. If you are in any of these states, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, or the Deep South, this is not the time to let your guard down. Monitor the National Weather Service, have your weather app notifications turned on, and know where your shelter location is. Now let's turn north to Canada, where a completely different but equally dangerous disaster is unfolding. Southern Quebec is being hammered by one of the most severe ice storms it has seen in years. Freezing rain continued to fall on southern Quebec Wednesday evening as roughly 100,000 customers were without power, and a section of Montreal's light rail network was shut down for the night. More than 150 flights were cancelled at Montreal's Trudeau Airport. According to meteorologists, up to 45 millimeters of ice accumulation, upgraded from an initial 30 millimeters forecast, is expected in some areas, particularly along Montreal's North Shore. The Saint-Jérôme area is expected to be the hardest hit. An elongated region of freezing rain is expected to last 20 to 24 hours, bringing significant ice accumulation to a massive swath of the province. Environment Canada issued an orange warning, the second highest alert level, with impact rating described as high, urging all residents to avoid non-essential travel. According to Environment Canada's official warning, roads and walkways will likely become icy and slippery. Prolonged utility outages are likely, and significant damage to property, including some buildings and trees, is likely due to the weight of ice. The City of Montreal mobilized 1,000 employees to spread salt as soon as the freezing rain began. The city said it was ready to activate emergency measures, with the Red Cross on standby and shelters prepared to open if necessary. Premier François Legault took to social media to reassure the public, stating that Hydro-Quebec crews were on standby and ready to respond throughout the night. Meanwhile, areas of Quebec north of Montreal, where freezing rain was not in the forecast, were hit with heavy snowfall warnings. Between 20 and 40 centimetres in regions including La Tuque, Charlevoix, Saguenay and Rimouski. The Baie-Comeau and Septile areas were facing between 30 and 40 centimetres of snow. This storm is being described by meteorologists as potentially comparable to the April 2023 ice storm that caused widespread damage and outages across the same region. So, what is causing all of this extreme weather activity? To understand it, we have to look at the bigger atmospheric picture. A stratospheric warming event has caused a wind reversal, signaling a polar vortex split and collapse, with a separated polar vortex core moving into the United States and Canada. This is a significant and relatively rare event that fundamentally disrupts the jet stream and allows Arctic air to plunge southward with great force. The Clipper storm is a system fueled by a fresh surge of Arctic air mass diving south from Canada into the U.S. These storms typically form in the lee of the Canadian Rockies and quickly move across the northern United States. They are followed by extreme cold air masses, characterized by a massive drop in temperature. Monday lows are in the 20s across the Midwest to the Ohio Valley, with mid-teens across the Great Lakes and the Northeast. The storm is impacting areas from Chicago and Detroit to New York City and Philadelphia, with morning rush hour travel disrupted by fresh snow and locally ice or freezing rain. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The spring 2026 season is approaching, with the latest forecasts confirming a collapsing La Niña still having a diminishing influence over North America. The rapid shift toward El Niño is reshaping the United States and Canada weather outlook. This transition period between La Niña and El Niño is historically one of the most volatile periods for severe weather in North America. Warm, moist Gulf air surging northward collides more frequently with these cold Arctic intrusions, creating the perfect fuel for supercell thunderstorms, tornadoes, large hail, and flooding rains. We are living through exactly that right now. The precipitation forecast shows above normal snowfall over the southern half of Canada and the northern United States, with above-normal precipitation also expected for the Midwest and Northeast during spring 2026. Let's break down the next 3 days for major regions across North America. Today, Thursday, March 12th. In the Northeast, the U.S.-Canada border region continues to experience a rain and snow mix, while thunderstorms reach as far north as New England. The Mid-Atlantic will see showers and thunderstorms rolling through. The Midwest is dealing with a mix of snow, rain, ice, and stormy conditions simultaneously. The Great Lakes will see snow accumulate along Lake Superior, while the other lakes experience rain and snow mix with icy conditions. In Canada, Montreal is continuing to recover from last night's catastrophic ice storm, with temperatures expected to remain at or below freezing through the day. Friday, March 13th. The severe weather threat shifts south and east. Storms are likely across the deep south, from Arkansas through Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. The northeast will begin to dry out slightly, though temperatures will remain well below normal. Quebec will begin to see some improvement after the ice storm, though lingering ice on roads and continued power outages are expected. Montreal's forecast for Friday shows a mix of sun and cloud, with temperatures hovering at 0 degrees Celsius, that's 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Saturday, March 14th. A new round of severe weather becomes possible across the southern plains and parts of the Mississippi Valley. Hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes remain in the threat zone. Montreal can expect snow or rain with temperatures near 2 degrees Celsius or 35 degrees Fahrenheit, while overnight temperatures drop back down to -7 Celsius. That's 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Across Western Canada and the Pacific Northwest, relatively quiet and cooler than normal conditions persist. The critical message for the next 72 hours. There is no region of North America that is truly at rest. Whether it is tornadic supercells, freezing rain, ice accumulation, heavy snow, or flash flooding, the atmospheric pattern is extraordinarily active, and it reflects the broader story of a weather season that is already historic in its violence. Folks, we are just entering the heart of severe weather season, and what March 2026 has already delivered should serve as a powerful wake-up call for every household from Texas to Ontario. Have your emergency kits ready? Know your evacuation routes. Sign up for local emergency alerts. And most importantly, when warnings are issued, take them seriously immediately. The families who lost loved ones in Oklahoma and Michigan this week serve as a tragic reminder of what is at stake when severe weather strikes without hesitation. If you found this coverage helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a SkyAlert USA update. Share this video. It could save a life. I'll be back with live updates as this new severe weather system develops. Stay safe out there, North America.